My name is Christina Bennett, and I'm the Communications Director for the Family Institute of Connecticut, and I am testifying in opposition to SB 835. I got involved in doing pro life work in my 20s when I was a student at Southern Connecticut State University after finding out that my mother was pressured to have an abortion. She was pressured by my father to have an abortion, and she actually went to Mount Sinai Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut in 1981 to try to obtain an abortion. She did meet with a counselor, but she didn't get counsel. A janitor in the hospital hallway saw her crying and asked her a very simple question, which was, "Do you want to have this baby?" That really should have been asked by a counselor, but the janitor asked her that, and my mom said yes. And then she was able to tell the doctor that she wanted to keep me, even though he argued with her, saying, "You've already paid for this." But she was able to walk out, and she held that in her heart for a while. But then she eventually told me, and that got me involved with wanting to help other women who perhaps were also feeling pressured or coerced into an abortion. We've heard a lot today about pregnancy centers and even why they exist. And some people have implied, people that are pro choice or pro abortion, that they exist solely to manipulate women or to try to convince them to keep their pregnancies. But if you look at the history of pregnancy center movements, they exist to create an alternative to abortions. Like I mentioned before with my own mother, she felt like she had no choice. She was being pressured, she was feeling coerced. And so even the abortion clinic, or I'm sorry, the hospital staff worker wasn't able to really provide her with counsel. And so it would have been great if she could have gone to a pregnancy resource center and talked to someone. And again, she was asked a very simple question, which was, "Do you want to have your baby?" So when we talk about time sensitive delays, which you've heard a lot about that, what's the opposite of a delay? Some people might say that's being rushed. And there are many women who feel like they were rushed into choosing abortion. And so we have to be careful when we're discussing what is a time sensitive delay. I mean, I understand that a woman, I've been pregnant before. I understand all of that with there's a certain amount of time to get certain types of abortion. But at the same time, we have to have room for the women who are consenting and choosing to allow themselves to go to a pregnancy center as part of the process. That's part of their process. Someone else asked earlier, why would a woman go to a pregnancy center, not to an OBGYN? Well, really, we have to ask the women, the thousands of women, why they're choosing to go. And we've heard some women today testify why they choose to go. But regardless of why they choose, it's their process. And if there is a delay between them, going to take a pregnancy test, and then maybe they do decide to get an abortion 2 weeks later, they've chosen to pause and to think about what they're doing and to allow the pregnancy center to be part of that process by talking to the people at the center. And so I think it's important to understand that a lot of what we're hearing today has to do.
You hit your 3-minute mark, if you wouldn't mind trying to conclude your remarks.
Yes, in conclusion, I will say that a lot of this has to do with abortion wars between pro-life and pro-choice people, so it will not end with this bill. Even if you pass this bill, there will be pro-abortion advocacy groups that are still trying to pick apart pregnancy centers because they're fundamentally opposed to what they do. So it'll be this now, and then maybe the next day it'll be they need to give out information for abortion, like was done with California pregnancy centers, NIFLA versus Becerra, which went all the way to the Supreme Court. This is not the clients of pregnancy centers versus pregnancy centers. This is NARAL, Pro-Choice Connecticut, and abortion advocates versus pregnancy centers. And they're trying to use the state elected officials to bully and harass pregnancy centers, and that is wrong.